What is good, everybody? I'm Dave LaFave, and you are watching Primetime Carolina. Before we get into the video, please make sure you like and subscribe. We're trying to reach 500 subscribers by the time the Panthers kick off week one against the Cleveland Browns. As for today's topic, the Carolina Panthers will be hosting the Buffalo Bills on Friday night in the 2022 preseason finale. My co-host Tanner Blue could not make it tonight, but that is cool. I'm going to hold it down for you right here. Let's get it going. Baker Mayfield has been officially announced the starting quarterback of the Carolina Panthers. Bang. We all knew that was coming. It's no surprise to anybody. As soon as this trade happened, we all knew what was going down. We all knew what this was about. Sam Darnold was not going to quarterback this team again. Are you kidding me? After the suffering we went through last year, we were going to roll him out again? No, sir. That was never going to happen. As soon as this trade happened, we knew who the starting quarterback was. We've talked about it on this channel for probably going on 3 weeks now. Everything about this quarterback competition was a facade. It was a psyop, if you will, if you want to put it in today's terms. Yeah, man, I'm excited to see what Baker Mayfield can do. He's had a few weeks now through training camp and practices and a couple preseason games. Well, he only played in one preseason game, but it's been a few weeks with the team. They've been practicing hard. He's been throwing to the guys, getting the timing down, learning the playbook, learning his checks, reads, offensive line protection. So I'm excited to see what he's going to do in this game. Now, the Buffalo Bills, on the other hand, are not expected to play their starters much, if at all. So this could be an opportunity for the Panthers to build some rhythm, build some momentum, going against some second-team guys. Hopefully they'll be able to come out, make some plays, feel good about themselves going into week one. The Bills obviously play their starters a lot more in the second preseason game. The Panthers are playing theirs in the third preseason game. This is kind of just a team-to-team thing ever since the league cut back from 4 preseason games to 3 preseason games. It kind of just depends on who you ask as to whether or not you should do your practice game in the second game or the third game. So obviously these two teams differ, and because of that, the Panthers are going to get a chance to go against a lot of second-team guys with their starters. So anything short of, I don't want to say domination, but convincing convincing performance on both sides of the ball would be a disappointment for the Panthers in this situation. Which, if there's one thing we know about the Panthers, it's they can disappoint us, especially when we feel good about the situation. So we'll see what happens. And obviously, the Bills are a very good team. They're a very deep team as well. So, just because we're playing our starters and they're playing their backups doesn't mean, they can't put up a good game against us by any means, for sure. So anyway, let's talk about a few other things going into moving on from Baker Mayfield. But, we're all excited to see what he can do. Obviously, he's the better of the two quarterbacks. We already knew that. So let's talk about the offensive line. This is a unit with a lot of new pieces, a lot of moving parts so far here in the offseason. Obviously, you have Ikem Ekwonu, who's been Matt Rule has announced going to be the starting left tackle. We saw that in the last preseason game. He was one of the few starters who played, and it wasn't necessarily pretty the whole time. But there's going to be learning pains. There's going to be bumps and bruises along the way. So hopefully Ikem Ekwonu can come in and get some confidence build up. Maybe move some guys around, not allow any sacks in this one, and feel good about himself going into a grueling week one. Man, he's got a tough first game in the NFL against Myles Garrett and Jadeveon Clowney. Hopefully, he'll be able to hold up, but we'll talk about that a little more next week. Right now, we're going to focus on the Buffalo Bills. Hopefully, we can see him build some momentum going into week one. Then next to him, you're going to have Brady Christensen at left guard. We all feel very good about Brady Christensen. He's a very good athlete for an offensive lineman. He's got pretty good quickness. He can move around. Little undersized, which is a big reason why he's moved from tackle. Well, he started training camp at tackle. He's moved over to guard. We all know his arms are too short, and the fact that he's made it this long in the NFL is a complete miracle. That's sarcasm, by the way. Please don't destroy me in the comments just because I said something stupid. That was sarcasm. And then Bozeman at center, who has been a little banged up. Hopefully, he'll be ready for week 1. I won't expect him to see it. I wouldn't expect to see him in this game. I'm pretty sure he's still got at least another couple weeks on the sideline. Then we've got Austin Corbett at right guard. He's been as advertised, I guess. He's been good so far. I expect him to have a good season. We should see him, as well as Taylor Moton at right tackle. We all know about Taylor Moton. Been a Panther for, well, when did we draft him? 2018, 2019? He's been a Panther for a few years now. He got his second contract. He's a real good player. We know what to expect from Taylor Moton. But going down the line is one thing. We need all these guys to work as a unit. That's the key to a good offensive line. Guys that work together, gel together, and protect the quarterback together. Guys who understand each other, guys who have an unspoken bond. And the Panthers have not had that for the last few years in the offensive line. It has been absolutely horrendous at times. So hopefully this group will be the group who can get it right. And they really seem like a good group of guys, man. They seem like they might be the ones to finally give the Panthers a formidable offensive line for the first time in years. I would say since 2015, really. It's the last time the Panthers had a half-decent offensive line. And they went to the Super Bowl. Now, at that point, they were a little more secure in their quarterback position. But that's neither here nor there. Let's move on to the next guy we need to look out for in this game. And that's going to be Shi Smith, wide receiver Shi Smith. Matt Rule said in his press conference after practice on Tuesday, I believe, that Shi Smith could potentially be pushing for a starting job on this team, which is pretty wild for a second year 6th round pick, especially one who got arrested in the offseason. But we won't get too into that. Look, man, we all love Shi Smith. It's been obvious since he got here that he's very capable of making plays. Dude is a bona fide baller. I mean, he just really is. He's undersized, and that's probably the biggest reason he was drafted so late. But he was a baller in college, and ever since he's been in the NFL, he's shown that he can do something with the ball every time you get in his hands. And what I've noticed is he so far this preseason, he's done a good job getting open too. So, it's good to see. I read something today that he's been getting a lot of advice from Steve Smith, and I think it shows because they're a very similar type of receiver. Undersized guys who can make a play when you get the ball in their hands, especially with a little bit of space. So hopefully Steve Smith can help guide him, keep him on the straight and narrow so he's not getting in any more trouble. But I'm excited to see what he can do. He's definitely a weapon. One of those guys who you get the ball in his hands and he can make him play. He can go out there and make a play. So we'll see what happens with him. Definitely look for Shi Smith. Potentially could be pushing for a starting spot on this team. Wild stuff, honestly. Pretty surprising because when we came into training camp, he was a guy who was a fringe roster guy. He was potentially on his way out. But few injuries in the wide receiver room. A couple guys haven't really stepped up. The second-year man is taking advantage, and you love to see it. You love to see it from Shi Smith. Hopefully he can be a staple in the Panthers offense moving forward and make the plays that come to him. I'd love to see it. So let's talk about another guy who potentially could be a reason Shi Smith's been getting all these extra opportunities because he's not on the field because he's been hurt a lot since we drafted him in the 2nd round last year. 2nd round in the same draft, 2021 draft, Terrace Marshall. The best ability is availability. You hear it all the time in the NFL, over and over again. It's so cliche that it's almost annoying, but it's so true. It's so true. If you're not there, you can't succeed. Period. If you're hurt, that sucks, but you can't perform if you're hurt. And if you can't perform, you can't perform. If you can't perform, you can't affect the game. If you can't affect the game, you're not going to earn a paycheck. You're going to be gone. You're going to get cut off the team. Unfortunately, that's just the way it is. You have to be able to be on the field at some point. Now, getting hurt is getting hurt. We all understand that. But you can't be hurt for 2 years straight. Okay? So Terrace Marshall's really running out of time to get himself on the field. And that's another thing Matt Rule touched on yesterday. He said, we need Terrace Marshall on the field. And quite frankly, it sounded like he was pretty fed up with it. He feels like, you know what, you need to get healthy or you need to just move on because football's not your thing. And frankly, that's just kind of the way it is sometimes. If you can't play, you can't play. No matter how good you are, if you can't play, you can't play. So, from what I understand, he was back on the field today at practice after Matt Rule's remarks. We'll just call them remarks. He's back on the field today. And hopefully he'll be out there in the game on Friday night. Now, personally, I really like Terrace Marshall. I have never shied away from that, and I will stand by that until I can't any longer. I like Terrace Marshall. I think he's capable of great things. Hopefully he can get out there and make some plays. I hope to see him go catch a couple balls on Friday night, so people can stop saying negative things about him because I'm rooting for him. And frankly, his name's been thrown about. His name's been thrown around a little bit when it comes to trades, potentially on the trade block. That's what they're saying. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully, if he comes out and makes a few plays on Friday night, people will forget about all that nonsense, put their faith in him moving forward, and he can be a staple on this offense, just like we hope Shi Smith can be. Honestly, this team has a lot of potential at wide receiver. And potential doesn't mean anything. But if it all comes together, they could have a ton of playmakers at wide receiver. So hopefully it all finally comes together. It's kind of been the theme of the Matt Rule era. A lot of potential that just hasn't come together. So hopefully third time's a charm and we can find some success in Matt Rule's third year and everything can come together a little bit. Last guy I want to talk about, I wouldn't expect him to play a ton, but he might find his way onto the field. I expect that he'll at least play a little bit, and that's J.C. Horn. Haven't seen him since he had that freak foot injury in week 3 on Thursday night last year against the Houston Texans. And, it sucks that he hasn't been on the field because the dude is obviously an absolute baller. I mean, we saw that in the games that he did play last year, and we've seen that in training camp this year. The dude is a stud. I mean, he's built for the NFL. His father played in the NFL. He gets it. But same thing as Terrace Marshall. If you're not on the field, you're not on the field. So hopefully this year, fingers crossed, he can stay healthy. Because if he stays healthy, I think he has the potential to catapult himself into the top 5 corners in the league discussion. I mean, I think he's that good. I think he's a legitimate lockdown corner. So hopefully we'll get to see him a little bit, not too much on Friday night. And hopefully he can make a play or two as well. But that's all I got for you. Just a couple things to watch. Panthers, Bills, Friday night. Man, that's it. Keep pounding. Make sure to like and subscribe. Peace out, guys.